4 hours out of Matthewtown, deep in the Atlantic, Kismet broke down. No one around, no safety nets, just us, the sea, and a boat that suddenly wasn't working. Far from help, we had to rely on our own skills to keep moving forward. This is the moment everything changed. All right, so now that we had gotten ourselves situated and we now had a really great plan with Chris Parker and his team, we were ready to head out again and make the trip to Luperón, Dominican Republic. So this time we were doing things a little bit differently. Instead of going around the northern tip of Long Island, because of the way the weather was, we actually did something very unique. Not a lot of people go this way, but we actually stayed inside the bank inside of Long Island, and we made our first stop at Thompson Bay. So we decided to go ahead and stay overnight there, and that's where we met up with our friends.
Our friends were already there, Mike and Sarah on Sailing Tova. We met up with them. They told us there weren't many boats there, so we knew where to anchor. It turns out it was my birthday, so we had dinner that night at a really nice place called Tiny's Hurricane Hole.
And a few cocktails.
Yeah, just a few. Couple of sundowners. So we knew the next day was an important day. We had rented a car, we had scheduled to rent a car, and so we could make it to Clarencetown to check out. With that, we were meeting the immigration officer at Clarencetown at noon, right? We knew we were getting used to island time, so we knew that we had a little bit of time to get there. So we showed up in Clarencetown at the marina. The immigration officer wasn't there. We knew we had all of our paperwork in hand because we had done it once before, so we knew what to do and how to do it. He showed up, we got everything presented to him, and he stamped the papers, and we were out.
So we actually had a little more time with our rent-a-car, so we decided to stop at some really amazing places on Long Island. Dean's Blue Hole, Gordon's Beach way down at the end of the island for a fabulous lunch. It was a really great day actually, but we had to get back. We had all decided we were going to leave about 5:30 in the morning, head through what we call the Comer Channel, which is a really narrow channel and very shallow. So we had to make sure that we hit this right at high tide, which was going to be about 7:30, and it takes about 2 hours to get there from Thompson Bay. So we timed it right on time, easy process going through the Comer Channel. We made it. It took about 9 hours to get back out into open ocean in the Atlantic, and everything was going smoothly. The ride was a little bumpy. We had the wind on our nose. We knew that was going to happen, but everything was going great. We overnighted our first night. We went through the south side of the Crooked Islands. Everything went well there, going as planned. The next morning we get up, we're just feeling confident, everything's great. And then about 11 o'clock, we're sitting there and all of a sudden our motor sputters and dies in the middle of nowhere.
So with that, I mean, that feeling comes up through the bottom of your feet into your gut, and you're just like, okay, you have to stop. And the reality of this is that the boat's not sinking. We're on a sailboat, so we turn the boat around, turn on our autopilot, we open all the hatches so that I can crawl down into the engine room. And as I'm doing that, Patrice looks at me and says, okay, you've got about 2 hours to make this correction, to make this repair, so that we don't have to turn around and keep going back.
The wind was on our nose, so we really couldn't sail there. Our only option was to turn the boat around and sail back to Clarencetown, because we'd have the wind behind us. So we really had to make that as our option. Put him on a deadline.
About an hour and 50 minutes in, all filters changed, all fuel lines cleaned. We try to start the engine, it comes on, and so we turn around and head towards Matthewtown. We knew that we had one good tank. We had one tank that had gotten a diesel bug, so we knew that 50 gallons of fuel was untouchable, unusable. But we had 50 in the other tank, and we could refuel in Matthewtown, and we had 40 gallons on deck. So we had enough fuel to make it. We just needed the engine to start. We pull into Man o' War.
After
about
an epic sail. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. We were really on a deadline because we had to enter Man o' War Bay right as it was getting dark. It's not the best anchorage because there's lots of coral there. So we were a little nervous. Luckily, Mike and Sarah on Tova sent us a trail to follow so we knew exactly where to pull in. We threw every sail we had up because the winds aligned, the stars aligned for us right then. We made it all the way in. I mean, we dropped sails right before we were ready to start throwing the anchor.
We dropped the sails. Patrice runs up to the foredeck, gets the anchor released, and then she drops, right?
All right, so as we woke up the next morning, we had a great night's sleep. We were exhausted after the 2 days of sailing we had done. We made a good breakfast. I went up to the bow of the boat. Everything looked great. I had actually dropped in the perfect spot. About an hour later, when we're ready to pull anchor, using the windlass, pulling the anchor up, and I scream at Rodney to stop because as we're backing up, we had actually gone around a coral head. But he used his amazing skills, got the bow thruster out, and we actually used the bow thruster to get around the coral without damaging it and without damaging us.
Road came up just fine.
It came up perfectly. And then we headed into Matthewtown to the government dock because we really needed to get fuel before we took off for the Dominican Republic.
So with one tank compromised, we topped off the other tank with enough fuel. Our next leg from Matthewtown to Luperón was a 30-hour overnighter. So once we did that, we topped off our tanks, had some dinner, and then just kind of tried to catch as much rest as we could because we knew that we were leaving about 10:30 at night.
And we were nervous because we knew our tanks were not in the best condition. We were just trying to make it to Luperón because we knew we could do some bigger repairs once we got there.
More resources.
So we were a little anxious about this next 30 hours, not wanting to stress our engine, but knowing we really didn't have options in Matthewtown for repairs, so we had to make it to the DR.
The DR, right? So we left about 10:30 that night, and then our friends Tova came in behind us. We made it through that night. The next night on the shifts, we had a storm. Radar popped up. And it's kind of frustrating because on radar you see all of the big cruise ships and they've got plenty of power and horse speed to make it around the storm. But we had to go straight through them, lightning and all of the other stuff. So once we did that, the sun came up the next morning. We noticed that we were headed a little fast, so we had to slow down, back off the sails. Because Luperón was coming in, we had gotten in a current and headed in the current. So we had to be careful with all of the fishing lines and the fishing nets. One thing that we had read is that the fishermen don't use buoys, they use pop bottles and milk cartons as their floats. Tova,
so hard to see, so you have to really pay attention. I was out on the bow trying to give a watch
for the fishing nets
as we were coming in.
So Tova had reached out to our local guy, Papo, and they went in first, and we slowed down and went in second to get our mooring ball in Luperón.
It was the best feeling ever. We got in, we got checked in, and to end this story, we had the best beer I've ever had in my life.
We put our yellow flag up and did all of our check-ins from agriculture to immigration and the Armada. That's one of the biggest things here is you have to check in with the Navy. So we did all of that and made our way to the local bar, Astrid's, and had a great beer.
So be on the lookout for next week. We're going to start taking you through some of our adventures through the Dominican Republic. We have been here, we're staying here through hurricane season. We've elected to stay in Luperón because it is known as a hurricane hole. And so we are going to be doing lots of adventures and lots of travel that we want to take you guys along with us through the Dominican Republic.